What's up, good people? Welcome back to Four Titles, One Truth. I'm Tommy. You know who I am.
Yeah, that's Tommy. All right, and I'm Lance. And today's episode is all about the beginning, the moment that changed everything for us. We're talking about how we met our wives.
And I'm going to just tell you this. Behind every strong man,
Every strong man.
there's a stronger woman.
Yes.
With a finger pointing at you.
And a side eye.
Uh-oh. Facts, but not really, because we don't want to get in trouble.
Okay. So let's get into it, y'all. Tommy, do you remember the exact moment you met Nikki and what stood out the most?
The exact moment, I absolutely remember. We were in Fort Eustis, Virginia.
Fort Eustis.
Yeah, I was stationed there in 1999. And so I was playing basketball, and I had noticed a young lady walking by. I was like, oh, okay. But playing ball, so wasn't stopping or anything like that. And
You
a
were
little while
distracted on
later,
the court.
yeah, I'm focused, man. And a little while later, I noticed the same young lady, and she's leaned up against the wall, propped up against the wall, like with the leg up on the wall, the other leg out front, just leaning. I don't know, okay, but still playing ball.
Okay.
And then she ended up leaving. She was gone. I was like, what in the? So I used to have a Ford Expedition.
All right.
Right. And it was a big dog for a big dog, you know what I mean? And it was a 97, I think,
Okay.
Expedition. And it had 20s on it. It had a system in that joker, it was, I was just
laid
rolling.
out.
I was rolling. That's all I'm gonna say. I was rolling. Yep, Sergeant E5 rolling. And I had this alarm on it, and the alarm was a proximity alarm.
Okay.
So if you got within 10 feet, it chirped.
Okay.
If you got within 5 feet, it chirped twice. Yeah, and then if you touched it, it was going off. Yeah.
Ooh, that's sensitive alarm.
Yeah,
Boy.
it was. And I always parked away from everything, right? So I finished playing ball, and then I come out the gym, walk up to my truck. How about there's a phone number on my windshield wiper?
So she knew what ride you
I
were.
don't know how she knew the ride, first off. But how did she get that close to my truck without my alarm going off?
That's a professional stalker
the
right
alarm
there.
I had, it had a little like a little remote to it, and it tells you the proximity of somebody. So nobody
so the
could
remote
get,
would go off.
absolutely.
Okay.
So you can't go up and touch my truck without me knowing it.
Apparently you
What?
could.
Evidently, right. The one person, either the one person that could, or there's a flaw in my system, and I'm coming for you. But yeah, and she left her number, and we eventually ended up talking. I had seen her again. There used to be a Thai shop on a Thai restaurant on Eustis, and then I was in line. And we saw each other then, and we ended up talking, and then we went out on a date.
Okay.
Went to see Gladiator, the first Gladiator. Yeah,
Oh, that was a
that's
good
why
one.
when we went to Rome, seeing the Colosseum together was pretty impressive. But it was funny because I always tell everybody she was stalking me.
Yes.
She says something different, but then eventually she'll come back and admit it.
Shit.
Not that she was stalking me, but that she was the aggressor in
she
the
is the-
situation. What stood out the most about her was the confidence, and also her sense of humor.
That's important.
Yeah,
Man.
and she has
That's an important thing.
beautiful smile and a laugh that's contagious.
Ah.
And so that was. Hold on a second. No, it's fine. No, that was it. What about you and Audra?
Well, ours was probably 1990 was when I
90.
first saw her. We had Howard. She was a year ahead of me. So,
How long have you been at Howard before you saw her?
couple of weeks.
Okay.
Probably about a couple of weeks.
Okay.
2.5 weeks probably.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was August.
So you was a stalker.
No, I wasn't even stalking. I
Okay.
wasn't even stalking. I was while we
Okay.
were walking. It was because I hadn't even seen any of the. I knew the freshman guys because
Right.
we all lived in the same dorm. But we were walking out the first day of PT,
No. Okay.
physical training, where we go do our exercise in the morning. So it's 6 o'clock
Right.
in the morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. So we're walking, and luckily for us, our dorm was right across the street from the
Track.
Drew Hall.
Well,
Body out there, right across the street from the football field.
Okay.
That's where the track and all that stuff is. Where we did PT.
okay.
So we were walking across there, and like you could see folks already out there running around the track and stuff, and saw this lady running around the track. Look, her hair was all done up, looking good. I was like, ooh. And I was two of my boys. I said, hey, I said, I'm gonna marry her. It's like, yeah, all right. So we walked. And that was when I first saw her.
Right.
Actually, having the gumption to come up and start talking to her and stuff. That was
a whole other thing.
that was something else. But I saw it. I had the vision, and took me a couple of years.
So you
but
didn't talk to her on that day.
nah.
Okay.
No, I was on a mission too.
I got
on that
you.
thing. I had to
Okay. Well, plus you was
prove
new.
myself.
You was new to the college.
I
and
knew to everything, and then
know.
they don't what you call it. I mean, she'll tell you, she'll say this. She's like, "You was a freshman. Nobody worried about no freshman." I was like, "Come on, man. Come on, stop it."
All right. What stood out most?
From just seeing her, she's just a beautiful lady. Beautiful lady, and anybody that can have themselves together that early in the morning is like, okay.
Work it out.
Yeah. So, and then see, she was a year ahead, then they had different like leadership positions, and just seeing, hearing her and how she handled herself. And that was something where I was like, yeah, I could deal with that. So,
Okay. So was it love at first sight, or did it take time for things to get serious?
no, everything like that. I mean, you see somebody like that, it's lust at first sight. So
well,
it's not absolutely love.
Hold up.
Starting off.
You
but
said, I'm going to marry you.
Yes.
How many women have you said that to? Or about?
one.
Good answer.
I didn't know it was love. Yeah.
No,
I didn't know.
but
Yeah, I
seriously.
didn't. No, it was. It was. It was one of those things where it's like, man, you can see yourself in that
Yeah.
that blink of an eye, that quick moment. It's like, man, I can see myself with her. And then you think about it a lot. And it's like, yeah, and you learn like where folks are from, because learning she's from the Mid. I was like, I'm from the Midwest too. It's okay. You're from Ohio, but
Wait a
I
minute.
can still. I can
great
still take
state.
that. It is.
Y'all
It
know.
is. I love it. I love it now. But just I think the longer that the more that you learn about somebody, and then again, like our situation where it's like, I would talk, talk to her,
Yeah.
but it was still treating us like
The
we were freshmen. But and then she also had boyfriends, so it was like,
Uh-oh.
so it was one of them things where it was like I wasn't planning on being a home wrecker or trying to compete at.
Yeah, immediately.
Yeah,
I
right
got
there. I had to get myself straight and learn the lay of the land, but it was there.
So how long did it take for you to talk to her? If you remember?
Not that long. I mean, you try to
Just
do
the
shit
hey.
where you try to, it's like, hey, what's the hey? Or try to make small comments. Probably about, because we were, you're on different schedules.
Yeah.
And you don't see everybody. On time that you would see everybody in the unit down there was,
PT.
on a lab day, Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Well, PT, and then on lab day when everybody, you go out and you do your formations and you get together with your group and your class and your whatever platoon and stuff you're in. And
Right.
so probably it's probably at least by mid-September. I was trying to make small conversation, but I
Right.
wasn't getting anywhere. I wasn't gaining any ground.
That, hey, I'm over here.
Yeah, but I was always a good friend, you know. So, but we really started hanging out probably my sophomore year.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and things started being a little more. I guess I'll call it a little closer, but a little more closer friends.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So it wasn't love at first sight, but it was absolutely attraction at first sight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the issue was when I saw her in uniform, she was a PFC.
Oh.
She wasn't in my chain of command, and the rules were a little looser back then. But she was.
I think it was a PFC.
She
I
was.
can't even see her as a PFC.
Well, yeah, she came in older. You know, she
Mm.
came in. I think she was 24, I believe.
Okay.
So she came in, and this is what's most amazing about her is the fact that she sets goals and she runs and gets them. You know what I'm saying? So she came into the military with the purpose of doing 20 years, establishing benefits and all that stuff for Kaylin.
So she had plans.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So she was a different level than your average private.
She was grown.
Yeah. And the first time I saw her, I was impressed, right? Because she is amazing, and
yes,
she got
I know.
that. She got that thigh, you know what I mean? But so as she walks, it's going to get attention, and she, like I said, she laughs and she doesn't take herself too seriously when she's comfortable in a situation. So that was the most amazing thing about her, and the reason it didn't get serious immediately is because of me, because I was Army.
Tommy.
No, I was Army. I was Army. So like first time we really had a conversation together. I'm a Sergeant E5, she a PFC, so I'm like, I got to mentor and develop this young lady. So I asked her, how do you perform a function check?
Oh my God.
But it just goes to show, right, that for a long time between Nikki and I, my mindset was completely off compared to her mindset, so she's interested in a relationship. I'm interested in a relationship, but I'm also trying to develop a soldier, trying to check her on her military P's and Q's. Yeah, so
to get you like,
it
boy.
wasn't love. It was love at first sight. It was interest in first sight for us both. Then she heard me talk. Realized
She was like,
realized I was an Army guy, and she,
want to start walking back some stuff.
She was born and raised around a large base.
See, that's good.
Yeah,
See, at least she has ideas.
Yeah, so she was like, this dude, and so our relationship was. I think her mind went from, all right, this ain't gonna be a relationship thing, but we still hung out.
Okay.
We was cool.
No, that's good.
Yeah, and then it took for it to get serious. Like 2006 before and I'm not talking about serious locked up in a relationship. I'm talking about serious on our approach to each other.
Okay.
It was wait till 2006, man.
I mean, I understand, because it was about 3 years before we started, that romantic type of deal, So
Because what happened was she ended up going to Korea.
Okay.
And she left the base that we were at, and then she stayed in
keep in contact.
Yeah, a little bit, but not.
It was different back then, man.
Exactly.
It wasn't as easy as it is
right,
now.
as a text.
Or a FaceTime.
Yeah, and so we just sort of fell out of communication with each other, and then reunited later. So
Okay.
it was pretty
All right.
pretty funny how it was.
That's,
You know, you can't help but be who you are,
That's-
man. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I'm being judged right now, but it's okay.
Ooh. All right. Hey, so what's one moment early on that made you realize, yep, Nick is the one for me?
I think it was, so in 2006, I'm going to tell this story. There was a website called Black People Meet. You ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so it was a dating website
Okay.
for
Yeah,
black
I think
people.
I had. Okay.
Yeah, well,
I
you
think
were
I
married.
had.
So
Yeah.
you didn't have to worry. But so I was a drill sergeant,
All right.
and so drill sergeant, you ain't got time to meet nobody, and
Because you got to make mission.
well,
You got to make mission.
yeah, and you're always going. So I got on that website
Okay.
and did the initial set the parameters, and I did the initial search, and I'm just flipping through it, and I see this beautiful woman. She's in a mini skirt, and she's posed up against her Acura truck.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm like, who is that? Jacksonville. She's in Jacksonville, Florida. And I was like, that can't be. So I'm like, is that? So I just sent a message. I said, is this the Nikki Boynton? And eventually she replied back. She said, it is. Is this, and that's how we reunited.
Oh, wow.
On a dating site.
Well, thank goodness for that dating site.
It was crazy. And but the thing that was different about this is we were at a distance still, because I was at Leonard Wood and she was stationed at Benning,
Okay.
and we were forced to talk on the phone because I didn't have no time, and so the more we talked, the more we became, like you said,
Well, you
like
put
the
more,
friend
put
thing.
the effort into
Yeah,
it. So.
but it wasn't. We didn't approach it as dating in the beginning. It was a reunion, and then we just kept talking. Yeah, and then one day, I can't remember if she invited me or I invited myself. Probably I invited myself, but anyway, I had a weekend free. Matter of fact, we just graduated, so I think we had 4 days before we picked up again. And I shot from Leonard Wood over to Benning. Yeah, and then that's when we realized it was different this time,
Okay.
And so that was the first moment when I started to think that something's possible.
Okay.
With Nikki.
That's good.
Yeah. What about you?
That's good. So, again, like for me, it was like freshman. I mean, well, for me, I knew she was the one. August of 1990. August 23rd.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But for real. Probably after sophomore year, then we'd start talking on the exchange, get phone numbers, and you start talking on the phone more. And she used to call me I don't know if it was she had a little call rotation or what, but I know right around bedtime I was always getting calls. So I was
You
like,
were the
oh, I'm
last
the last
call.
one that I'm the last one who she talking to. So I'm gonna be in some dreams and things like that. So, but
My chance.
yeah, but so I mean, it's just the more that we talked, the more that we hung out. We go to the movies or go out there. I had a little job, so I'm trying to. Hey, I got some money. Let's take you out there. Yeah, that's right.
In the Corolla, right?
In the Corolla. No, you know what? Actually, the sophomore year, I had a Buick LeSabre, an '87
school.
Buick LeSabre rag top, gray, red. The spoked hubcaps was rolling.
But then,
but then the junior year I got the Corolla.
You upgraded.
I got the Corolla because my LeSabre got burned up. That's another story. But she used to borrow my car. She borrowed my car to go to grocery store. This indeed, and I'm letting her borrow my shit.
Of course you
Parents
can.
don't know about and me being a parent now,
Right.
no, that girl borrowed your. What's going on?
Of course you can.
Yeah, yeah. Because that was a That was a nice little thing to have a vehicle. But no, I mean, just the more we talked on the phone, the more we hung out, the more same thing like you said, the similarities, somebody getting your humor,
Yeah.
and then again, I mean, it's just a beautiful person, somebody who you could just, and I know she had her family was close, like I mean, just just all those things where it was like, man, this is
Start to
could
find
get along,
out
yeah,
about
could
them,
actually try, start getting along, as we got closer to the point where we actually started, dating and being a boyfriend girlfriend thing, where then you really start meeting family and
Right.
meeting folks, and it was like, oh man, yep,
Those good people.
yep.
So y'all started dating your sophomore year?
No, shoot, we we ain't start dating till was it my first? You can call it either my first freshman year or my second junior year.
Explain,
So-
please. Explain, please.
So I was a 5-year candidate in school because I changed my major, and then going from biology to nursing, and nursing is like on a strict. They offer classes at only at certain semesters, so you get pushed back depending on where you are in the
When you decide.
in the thing. So it pushed me back like a year.
Okay.
Or about a half a semester. But yeah, once we started dating, and I didn't know, because again, she had a boyfriend.
When y'all were dating?
No, come on,
Audra.
come
Come
come on, Tommy, stop it, stop it, Tommy. No, she had a boyfriend when we first got there. When I first got there, then she had another boyfriend in between. I mean, they had broke up, but I wasn't.
Right.
I mean, and I look back at it, and it's like I wasn't ready to have a
Yeah.
girlfriend, like that, or thinking I wasn't thinking I'm
No, I get
19, 20, and I'm where I am in DC at my school, and I had a
I was in my 20s and
Yeah.
30s and still wasn't ready because I'm an idiot. But anyway.
But when it happened, but so it was summertime. She had sent when people used to still write letters, I got a letter in the mail because I was at home, and I'm sitting there reading the letter, and this was like in, I guess, July. Sitting there reading the letter, she telling me that I have a
Professing her
boyfriend and blah, blah, blah. No, professing no love.
wrote a poem to you.
Yeah, it was all of that good stuff. But whatever, I kept trying to remember what was all in the thing. But it was just hey, how you doing? Think about
Surprise.
you. But so I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
snap.
wait a
I got
minute.
Yep. So then I went downstairs. I told my father, I said, hey, I'm going to go back to school a little earlier. So I went back to school about 2 weeks early. Was staying with my couple of my boys, and
She was already back?
yeah, because she lived in it was called the Towers. It was like a
Okay.
little apartment type thing that
Right.
was sitting up there. So yeah, she was already there, and
How you doing?
yeah, start hanging out a little more.
So let's go a little forward then. When did you know you were literally going to propose to her?
I knew probably because we probably started going out and being boyfriend girlfriend probably like September time frame, and by December, I knew because she was she was going to be graduating in May, and that wasn't why, but I knew she was graduating in May. I knew that she was getting commissioned. She was going to be on active duty, and knowing like all of the systems, it's like, oh, we need to try to we want to try to be stationed together. We knew that we needed to be married, in the married couples program. She wasn't, we weren't married, so and I knew that I still had another year left to finish. So, but December, I knew. Because I've been talking to this woman, hanging out with this woman,
Yeah.
and I finally got to meet all her people and family and stuff, and it was just, I was like, I'm good, man. You know, I mean, I'm happy. I mean, just happy, and
Right.
so
Oh, that's sweet. It took a long while, because once again, my focus was always the military, and I had been in long enough to where that was working for me, and so um, I wasn't as considerate of others as I should have been, and so it took a long time before um, we we ended up getting to that place, but we were never together because we was always stationed in different places.
right, it's hard, man.
It is. And so I ended up, when I left the trail in 2008, I selected my duty station, Fort Gordon,
Okay,
because that's the closest I could get to Fort Benning, and because I could never get stationed on Benning. And I ended up, surprisingly, I thought I was going to go there and take a break, but I ended up going there and then had to help reestablish the ITO there, Installation Transportation Office, because I was a senior transporter on the installation.
okay,
And then we stood up the unit, took it from a non-deployable unit, changed the name, and then stood up the brigade, prepped it to deploy. Then we ended up going to Iraq. So the time there was a blur, wasn't a break, because I took that duty station for our relationship, but I also felt I was sort of throwing the flag in on the career, because going to Gordon, I envisioned it as a step, because it's a signal place, and there was no real major role, because, like I said, the unit I was going to wasn't deploying. But it ended up being a hidden gift, right?
Yeah.
But I think when I went there, I did it with the right intentions. But I think that, once again, everybody, please remember, I was still on me instead of other people, and that's horrible to say, but it's taken me a long time to be able to say it and admit it. And so
Because what was your rank at that time?
E7, Sergeant
Okay.
First Class, yeah. And so by the time I got to Georgia, I was starting to get looked at for E8.
Okay.
So I felt that, oh no, I'm taking a step back. I made this decision because I was like, oh, she might be the one, you know. And then I was convinced she was the one, but I was saying it but not acting it, if that makes sense.
Okay. No. Yeah.
And so ended up going to Georgia, and we did see each other more often because it's not that far. But I instead of getting there and having a break, I was still in the fight. So that meant my energy was still focused on the military, and I didn't give enough in our relationship. So that delayed even longer. So that's the history of our relationship. You know, it's her being in a moment that she would be ready, and then her realizing that I'm not ready, and then us falling apart from each other. And it's a combination of me and mistakes I've made, and just the writing on the wall sometimes, you know. And so the unique thing about our relationship is we always circled back, right? And that was the pull that I noticed specifically by building that friendship when we reunited again at that moment.
Man,
So
that was the biggest thing for us. I can tell you, is being. When I tell my kids, I tell folks, is like to be friends with someone, because if you go in there just with all of the physical and it's not going.
It's
I mean,
empty.
yeah,
It's
it's
empty.
doesn't mean because it's like after you do whatever, you do the do, then what you gonna talk about, or how
Right. Yeah.
do you really want to, I don't know, be around this person? Because it's like if you can be with somebody and y'all don't have to say nothing or don't have to, you just being in the same room with them and you're fine,
Yeah.
that you're good, you're fine, and
But see, that's the thing, right? So you always, when you become real friends, you want to tell them stuff about your day. You want to tell them stuff about what's happened to you, and then when they're not around, then you miss that. Yeah, and then that's what helps a knucklehead like me
So
start to realize.
so when were you able to turn it off, the Army piece, say like, okay,
I was never
be able
able
to,
to turn it off.
turn it off, or get it to a point where you're balancing it, where it's like, okay, I can still be the man and still be the man for this woman.
Yeah, man.
So because that's ultimately what,
You're supposed to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
needed to do, or what you did do
Yeah.
in order to, you just didn't.
It was a while, man, before I came to the conclusion that she's before me.
Okay.
It was a while, and that there was a combination with her serving in the military as well, right? And so,
Because did she already go over to the officer side by that time?
yes, by the
Okay.
time we got serious, yes, that was,
Okay.
yeah, it was, it just basically was me, not realizing what was in front of me, I guess is the best thing. The prize that was in front of me. Not just smart enough, emotionally available enough, and mature enough to realize what's in front of me. And that's what took a long time. It took a
Because
while.
they actually, when I say they, I'm talking about folks, if you got wives or husbands or whatever, they give you some more support,
Right.
to make you even better, and more encouragement to even make you better
Yeah.
in your job.
Yes.
And it's, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
And you're right. There's nothing like having your best friend with you.
Yeah.
That's true. So looking back, how did being in the military affect how your relationship developed? And I sort of hit on it for me.
Yeah. Well, for us, because we were, when we got married, because we got married in '94.
Yeah. She was
September
just in the
94.
Army and
She was
stationed in
just
Korea.
in the Army and getting stationed in Korea,
Yeah.
and I had a year left of
School.
school.
Okay.
So it was, we were still growing up, still maturing. So for us, being in the military, it was okay. Now we're for real grown folks, and you're married. So now you're working on the thing that you're talking about is, okay, how are we going to be successful as
Married and
married
career.
soldiers,
Yeah.
or and officers in the military, in our careers,
Right.
and in
Relationship.
life,
Yeah.
in life, when you're still learning, because you're young and you're still dumb. Because I look back at it now, and I look at my kids who aren't in relationships or anything now, and they're older than what me and my wife were when we got married, and I'm like, yeah, they're not, and I'm like, we were ready, were we
Yeah.
really ready? It was different times, I know, but it's we grew, together as far as learning, that support, how to be supportive, how to, because
Right.
it was one of those things where I would get upset if she was at, she's in command and at the office till whatever, or she has to go do this, and I'm getting mad. I'm like, why am I,
Yeah.
think about it. I had to learn, it's like, why am I getting mad at that? And that's her career. That's making her better. That's adding
it's
to
what
what she,
y'all
and
agreed
that's
on.
what,
Yeah.
and that's what we, knowing that we're both in the marriage, that's what we signed up for,
Right.
so it's like, I can't get upset at that. I need to not try to not worry about or try to argue about that little, look at it, looking back at it, and I was like, that was some petty ass crap,
Yeah.
not doing that stuff in the time that we did have, the off
Right.
time we did have together, and
Right.
have the fun, you're
Yeah.
talking and having the fun with stuff, and just like, I mean, so that for us, that
Yeah.
piece was we're growing up and learning,
How to deal.
yeah, how to
Yeah.
deal with that, how that jealousy piece of that, just
Yeah.
all of that little stuff that you can see younger, so but I mean it's like by the now it's just
That's
it's it's just
a
it's a
roadblock
lovely
y'all
thing.
got
Yeah.
over, and now you're
Yeah,
rolling.
so it was just one of those things that you just
So sitting here thinking and listening to you talk, and talk. I was playing.
because my name is Tommy Jones.
Hater. No, but so the instance that I told you that we started to date, and I'm sitting there asking her about military questions, right? I think that I always looked at her as needing my help in the military. So that's one thing. The second thing is it was never her DNA. It was her choice to be in the military.
Right.
It was her plan to be in the military to reach her goal
Yeah.
to then get out
She
and
was
continue life.
Doing it for her life goals
like
and
you
for her
said, she was
family
grown
goals.
up,
Yeah,
right.
she was grown.
I joined the military because the stagnant moment, I ain't have nothing else to do. And I was like talking to my dad. He was like, you need to do something. So I joined the military. And then I found out that the military was for me. Nikki, it was always, and she said this to me, that, she was a woman first. She was, her focus was being a lady, being a woman, and then her job was being a soldier, right? And then I was soldier, on duty, off duty, first thing you wake up and all that. And that contrast, I think it, and this is what I meant by listening to you, I think that I took it personally that she wasn't as committed as I was, meaning I wasn't able to help her because she didn't want my help,
she already knew what she wanted to do.
didn't need my help. And her progression was at her rate, what she wanted to do, and she progressed. She made it always staff sergeant before,
She had a plan.
Absolutely.
She knew what she needed to do.
I know,
She's
but
smart. She's a smart lady.
100% smart and beautiful. But I was not intellectually ready to accept that she's not as committed as I am, and she doesn't want it as much as I do because her goals weren't in line with mine.
Thank goodness.
Agreed, because we had never ended up together
Yeah,
because
thank goodness.
two hard-headed people, And then there has to be somebody in a relationship
Yep.
that is not as stubborn as the other. You can't be both at the same pitch.
Yeah, you and Audra are the same as far as just. I mean, and I'm glad, and I'm sure Nikki was glad to me because y'all. I mean, y'all. When I say y'all, I'm talking about Tommy and my wife. Good resources. I mean, for real, good resources, good folks to keep us on track because it's not a lot of people who, especially for us, take for me and Audra, for somebody to say, hey, you messing up, or you need to do, because a lot of folks won't do that.
Yeah.
You need somebody that especially for that understands your job, understands what your role should be, because I know that I would tell Audra, especially when she was if she was in charge of a lab or if she's in charge of a donor center, or if she was in command, I would have to tell her sometimes, be like, look, I'm not one of your soldiers. I don't work
That's
for you.
Nikki.
You know, I don't work for you. So, you know, let's
Watch how you
bring
talk to
that back, you know.
me.
You
Yeah.
know, and it's, you know, we would laugh about it, but it was like, I'm, you know, I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not,
Same.
you know, now it's like your husband Lance and my wife
Yeah.
Audra, and we going to talk
Me
to
and
each
this
other and
together.
respect
Yeah.
each other, you know, the way that we supposed to. So, but you need somebody that I feel you need somebody that can knock you off that
No.
pedestal a little bit, or straighten you up on there to keep you straight and keep you.
So you can move forward.
Yeah, I mean, because to me, we were always like, okay, I got to uphold this Taylor name now. You know, it's a standard.
representing.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, that's the way we look at it. It's a standard, and this is what.
Yeah.
You know, this is what you're gonna get if we're come to the thing, and we're a team, and this is how we're gonna help each other out. Because for us, it was, I mean, it was a plan too, because it was like, okay, this is what we need to do through the end to get to what we want in the future.
Long run,
yeah, in the long run, you know, for our kids. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, it was always yep, we can do it. You know, we'd talk about it, and it's like, yeah, I mean, it'll be hard, but it's doable. We'll make it work. So if we got stationed at different places,
Figure it out.
yeah, you know, it was like you be pissed for a minute, and then it's like, okay, it's all good. It's other folks had to do work, you know, because somebody always had it. I won't say worse, but somebody had already done it, or somebody had already, you know,
Yeah.
we were separated for 3 years. Somebody we know, some friends have been separated for 5 years. You know, just stuff like that, where it was like, oh, we can do it. It's not, and we felt our relationship was strong enough to be able to
Make it
take
through.
something like that. Yeah, so that we weren't gonna. I was like, I'm not going nowhere. So
And that's so. Well, the reason I laughed earlier when you said resource is because I felt I was a resource, and I felt that a reliable resource, right? But once again, Nikki wasn't in need of that resource, and instead of just saying I'm here when you need me, I would take offense to that. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it's just it's something I've learned myself very well over the years, and the reason I've learned myself is Nikki, because sometimes in leadership you have to push through, right? And you have to take on that face and just march forward, you know. And to be honest, just for people who aren't in the military, when you go out on a mission in combat, as a leader, you have to acknowledge that it's possible that some people are going to die. You have to acknowledge that because it's combat. But you still have to make that decision to go. You know, once you lead, so a FOB, right? It's a forward operating base. Forward meaning it's in a combat environment. And we call it FOB, F-O-B. The FOB is the safest place in combat. But even that gets attacked, right? Even that gets incoming rounds, right? Mortar rounds at any moment. So you understand that there are consequences just being there. But when you leave those wires, that's where the unknown is. And you don't know. Of course, you have your intel, right? And they do their best to get as specific as possible intelligence. But you still don't know once you leave those gates, is everybody going to make it back?
yeah, I mean the risk that
Shoots
threat
through the
level,
roof.
risk level,
Yeah.
whatever goes way up. I mean, because that's what I mean. I didn't have to ever go out on any missions off the FOB,
But you saw the results of it.
yeah, I saw many of the results, and
Yeah.
we got the what you were talking about earlier about the mortar rounds, and we got those all the time, you know, and not knowing the thing about those is you don't know where those are gonna land.
Absolutely.
So it's like it's not real. You know, you're trying to say it's not really a good place to know that it's gonna land over by the laundry stuff. You don't know where those things are gonna come into and land whenever they get fired off and coming into your area. So,
Which is why most veterans who've been to combat, when they hear those alert and alarms, behind that, the expectation is mortar incoming rounds. So the different alarms that are on phones or on speakers out in public or on TV shows, it used to affect me strongly.
okay,
To where my unconsciously my body would react,
okay,
and my heart rate would
Okay.
increase, and trying to stop that when you
how your heart rate would
consciously realize,
how your heart rate would increase whenever you saw Nikki.
well, that was controlled,
All right.
meaning I knew it was love. The other one was fear. But yes, you are correct. I felt I was a resource, and I felt obligated to share, but Nikki never came to the library for those resources. And instead of being a mature man and understanding, I had to learn myself and realize that
Okay.
I was a problem. And the only reason I told that story is because that's an example of what kept us apart
Okay.
for years on years. I believe there was resentment in me, but also love and friendship that I had for Nikki. And eventually I figured out that I had to accept the fact that we're different people and change myself instead of forcing her to change,
Yep.
because she did need those resources when she changed. But because of me and my pushback for her not doing it, then she got the hard-headed mind that I had, was like, well, yeah, I don't need you. I ain't going to ask you.
Yeah,
And
stubborn
so
on stubborn.
that's what I'm saying. And so it was a wonderful miracle that we ended up together. And so bottom line is, the military got in the way of our relationship because we let it get in the way of our relationship. And specifically on me, I wasn't mature enough to not let it get in the
Okay.
way. Looking back, I can give excellent advice on how somebody should, if they're going to marry, how they could make it through. The problem is I didn't take that advice, and it was lessons learned that I could give it. So, and I'll just say this, the military is just like life. There are different challenges in the military when
Different
it comes to marriage,
sacrifices. Yep.
right? But it's still basically the same thing.
Yep.
If you love somebody, then love will convince you to get out of your own way so that relationship could blossom.
Yep.
So, but lessons learned, and thank the Lord that Nikki was available and open to being with me.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
After all
y'all
that
were. It
madness.
sounded like y'all had at that time had established a pretty good friendship.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
like I
Friendship,
said,
friendship plus. You know, what I mean,
you
it's,
start to, like you just
start
said,
being more adults. Yeah, I mean, you're
You
adults.
know. You
You're
know when
more
there's a-
mature. I mean, it's just like you start looking at things, looking at yourself, and looking at
life.
this is where I
and
want
all
to
that
be
stuff.
in the future. This is how I want this to play out. Where I know that I'm gonna feel happy and safe and all of those
'Cause
good things.
You know when there's a good person in front of you
Yep.
that checks all the blocks. The question is, are you man enough or woman enough to admit it and then go get it, right? And not stop getting it. So
Right. Right. So, what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about starting a relationship while still in the military?
So I'm gonna repeat what I just said. Being in the military is no different than not being in the military when it comes to a relationship. So the best way, after years of lessons learned, is be honest with each other. If she's in the military, then y'all have a commonality,
Mm-hmm.
and you can talk to each other and share how your day's going and what's going on.
Yep.
And she'll have an understanding of it, and that'll bring you closer together. Remember, if you're honest with her or him. Now, if she's not in the military or he's not in the military, my advice is open up to them and bring them into your job. They don't have to be subject matter experts to be able to understand what you're going through and be present.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in the military, you should start by telling people how your day, telling your significant other how your day went,
Yep.
the good and the bad. Tell them the challenges you had. And like I said before, don't tell them the military secrets as far as top secret stuff to get you in trouble, but share with them so that when you do come upon hard times, they're aware enough of the situation that it doesn't feel like you're talking to a stranger.
Yep.
Because they can relate to your problem because they've understood the
Yeah.
situation, and
Yeah.
you two can make
Yeah,
it.
because communication and leadership isn't pigeonholed into this is leadership and communication for nursing. This is leadership and communication for transportation. That's all.
Yeah.
That stuff is
a
all
blanket.
the same, because and that's good because you want somebody to ask you. I mean, that doesn't know about your, absolutely know everything about your job. You want somebody to ask you a question about it because that makes you think about what how you're looking at a certain situation or whatever. Because then it's like, oh, okay, maybe it helps you walk through it and talk through it some more. But as far as it's doable. I mean, and exactly what you were saying as far as having a relationship in the military is no different than having one on the civilian side. And the thing that we've been pushing and telling, I don't say pushing, but things we've been talking about is you have to be friends with that person. You have to have some type of commonality. You have to have some type of wanting to be around that person. Because if it's somebody who you only want to be around for an hour a day or two, then that's not the one for
material.
you. That's not what you want. If it's somebody who you don't feel like you could talk to or share things with, or if it's not that person who you want to say goodnight to, the last person say goodnight to, or see or talk, at the end of the day.
Think about when you're away
I mean,
from
that's not the person, and that doesn't matter if you're in the military or not. The military piece, where it comes into play, is having somebody that's familiar with the military makes it a lot easier.
It erases one obstacle.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier because then they know, some of the hardships and some of the challenges that you're going to have from time to time.
But it raises other obstacles. So
and if you're dating somebody that's not in the military, you have to explain to them what your job is and what you do and some of the things that might come up, or last minute recalls, and I mean just deployments and all of those things like that, so that they understand, so that you can give them the opportunity to say, I don't know if I can deal with this, or get an opportunity to ask questions, more questions, so you can explain to them like, oh, okay, I can relate to that, or I want to stick around and be part of that. So it's just it's a communication type thing whenever you get into any type of relationship. And again, you just can't jump right into the sack, and think that, okay, everything's going to be great, everything's going to be hunky dory, because that piece is it goes by quick.
Lacking.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't have the substance that you need to be with somebody who you want to travel with. And
we're not saying that can't make
stuff.
it. We're just saying that it's more than that.
Yeah.
And it's like speaking from someone who's been in a relationship that was, if it wasn't for our want for each other and our friendship that brought more to the table, we wouldn't have made it. Like I said, we broke up so many times over the years, but we always kept finding ourselves back to each other. Majority be an email sent, just hey, blah blah blah, and the next thing you know, conversation starts and we're back in it.
Yeah.
So I knew from the moment I met Nikki that she was unique. She was beautiful. She was physically amazing. She was intelligent. She was had a great sense of humor, and she was confident. And so that right there, I knew she was different. Over the years, I started to realize how unique that is.
Yep.
Right? There's just so much that once we started talking, we started to figure out there's so much in common. And like I said, if you look at a relationship as a perfect circle, the more we got to know each other, the more time we spent with each other, and the more that we got out of the way of ourselves, me specifically, the more complete the circle was. And when that circle became complete, it was years later to where I was finally aware enough to realize that, come on, and but even through that, it was still, like I said, a lack of me and my relationship maturity. I was mature for a soldier. I was mature as a leader, but my relationship maturity.
No, you were a professional soldier.
Yeah, and it was just, I was lacking in so much. And like I said, I thank God that she was patient enough to wait,
That's good.
So, but my advice is simple. If you really want that person and you feel they want you back and you both communicate and willing to put in the work, because relationship is hard, but marriage is 20 times harder.
Yep.
And then you got to make sure your spouse is willing to do that as well.
Yep. You got to be able to accept and admit flaws that you may have, and again,
It may take years to realize you have, and they've been telling you for years.
Yep. And and accept some of those. I call them the crazy box that your significant other might have. You got to be able to accept those and laugh those off, deal with it or whatever. But that's real stuff that comes along with that other person, because you're dealing with a whole person. That.
And you know what it boils down to? Accepting each other for who they are.
Yep, that's it right there. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because even with me, I've changed a lot, right? And I didn't change specifically for Nikki. I changed to be a better person that made me better for Nikki.
And that's good. That's good that you didn't change just for her. You changed for yourself to make yourself.
Because I started to realize it.
That's good.
That's.
I'm glad you did.
That dude right there, but
I'm glad you did.
Whether it was an instant spark or a slow burn, relationships take real work. And in the military, they may take more patience and they may take more commitment, but we told you there's no difference. There's different roadblocks, but it still takes
the same
patience and commitment to make a relationship work.
That's right. And those beginnings, those stories, they matter. They remind us of who we are before the rank, before the duty, just two people trying to figure out life and love.
Yeah. And just let us know in the comments, how you met your person. or
Please.
what you've learned from your own love story, because hey, we've learned it.
Everyone
every
is
day.
interesting. Everyone is interesting. And don't forget to follow us at 4 Titles, 1 Truth on Instagram, on TikTok, and on YouTube.
And if you like what we're doing, leave us a review and rate us.
Please,
It helps way more than you can imagine.
That's right. We want to get better for y'all. So join us next time. So you know what we can do.
What's that, man?
We're going to keep the conversation going. All right, y'all.
Dude.
All right.
Holla.
Thanks, y'all. All right.